What's up guys, Second Tyler, and today we're going to be doing a video about a recent item I acquired. I actually acquired quite a few things recently, but these two are pretty unique actually. I'm only going to show one in this video and the other one's going to get a separate video, but I recently acquired a couple of nema heads, and these ones are really cool and they have a really cool background and story behind them. So the one that I'm going to be showing you today is a pretty cool special one because I don't have one like this, and especially for the age of it is really cool, and that is this right here. So this is a General Electric 175 watt nema head that I had acquired recently with another one that's down here on the floor. These two lights actually were up the street from me, and they've been on these poles pretty much almost right next to each other for as long as I can remember, growing up and stuff like that. But I wasn't sure how old they were. I knew they were pretty old, but I didn't know how old they were. And for as many times as I would pass by them and see them every day from either walking, bike riding, or driving, whatever it is, I would always see them. And usually they would always work. Well, this one, they both have stories behind them, but I'll talk about the story of this one mainly. This one has been on a pole on an area that's kind of weird. It's up the road from me, but it's this little gravel lot, and I don't know whose property it is, but whoever's property it is, they don't really do anything with the property. And it's kind of strange because it's like where I live, it's like my subdivision, and then there's another subdivision attached to mine, and then it's like you go up the road, down the road, literally like maybe not even 100 feet, and you're at like where the little gravel area is. And so I don't really know the story behind it, because right next to that is a like little old brick like ranch style apartment complexes, which is where I got the other one from, but this one was right next to it in between those. But anyway, this has been on the pole for years, and this has always worked until recently. And what had happened is with all the crazy bad storms we've had lately and all the crazy winds we've had, recently a tree had fallen, and when it fell, it hit this light, and when it hit the light, it actually broke the lens that would have been on it. And when it did that, it kept the metal reflector part of it, but the actual plastic lens had fallen off and it was broken. And I have the metal lens for it, which is over here. Excuse the mess. I've been working on a bunch of stuff and trying to clean up a bunch of stuff and have so many projects I'm working on, especially because there's a lot happening, so that's also another reason of my lack of post also. But yeah, this is the original metal reflector that would have been on it, and this is all that was left on here. But this one's cool because this one has the metal band that goes around it, so you can replace the plastic lens, refractor, reflector, whatever you want to call it. So it's got the cool band to exchange it or change it out, which is really cool. But so that was on here still, but the plastic lens was broken, and it was still operational, still fully functioning, no problem, until we had another random storm come through, and that actually made the tree fall more, or the branches move around a whole bunch because of where it fell. And when it moved more, it actually had knocked off this, or no, actually, no, sorry, I have the story mixed up. It had knocked off the metal reflector off of it, and so that was on the ground, and so was the plastic lens, and so the only thing that was here was just the bulb. But when that other storm came through, it moved the branch enough to where it actually broke the bulb in it. But funny enough, it didn't break the bulb. It actually broke the bulb from the cement. So the envelope of the ball had fallen, and the socket was still inside of it. But the bulb was still intact. So one day I walked up there, and I grabbed the bulb that was broken and the metal cover, metal reflector, which was all bent up. So I straightened it out and it looks a whole lot better. And I also grabbed the bulb. And funny enough, when I grabbed the bulb, I actually managed to fix it. So since the end was broken off of it, I actually reattached another end onto it that came from a bulb that was broken already from like a 100-watt high pressure sodium bulb. Put it on here and I glued it to the bulb, and it actually worked fantastic. Now this bulb, as you can tell, has a very black arc tube right there, so it's very well used. It still has a lot of life in it, but it's definitely not bright like a newer one. It's got some hours on it for sure. And also, I think the brand that is on this bulb, I saw it recently, but I cannot remember what it was. I don't know if it was a old Sylvania or if it was an old Philips, but I saw an etch on here recently, but I don't remember where it was. I'm trying to, maybe I can see it in the camera a little bit better. I'm trying to look for it, but I do not see it. But anyway, yeah, I was super surprised that this fell off, but it didn't break. So I put a new base on it, new socket on there, and the bulb worked fine. But this sat without the bulb in it for a couple months probably or so, and I tried to contact two local people to me that work for the local electric company, and unfortunately the one guy, he couldn't come out and change them because he was recovering from a stroke, but he's okay, which is good. So luckily I knew another guy, and I texted him like a month ago and he never got my texts. And then I saw him recently because we were doing a job last week, and he actually finally went and changed these. He changed this one and the other one that were the side-by-side lights. So he managed to grab them both for me, which was awesome. He originally only dropped off the other one and not this one for some reason. So I texted him back and I was like, hey, do you still have this light and the bulb for, or not the bulb for this, but the bulb for the other one, because he didn't give it to me. And he at first was like, no, I don't have them. But he was like, wait, I found them. And he dropped them off. And I'm so happy he dropped them off, especially the bulb for the other one, because it's old and really used and dimmed. And then he also dropped off this, which is awesome because, like I said, this is from 1964. I don't know if I've already said that or not, but this is from 1964 and it still works. It's really loud though, but it still works. And this one's unique because the way that the bracket is for how it mounts in the arm is interesting. And if I flip it over, it's got the stamp for GE. Interestingly enough, it's got a replaceable Leviton photocell socket, which is neat. And then the ballast in it is a pretty big, beefy ballast in this thing. It's one of these ballasts that mounts way deep down in there where my finger's pointing, where it's two screws on the actual head of the fixture, that it's one whole assembly that you loosen the two screws, twist it, and the whole thing comes out, versus the bar that goes across it, which I kind of like these ones better. But yeah, this thing is loud, and these wires also are very dry rotted, as you can tell, so I'm going to have to definitely do some work. But here's the original sticker for it, which is super cool that that's on there. As you can see, 120 volt, 175 watt mercury vapor, and then the date code, which I sent a picture to a guy I know recently, and he decoded it, and he said it was from 64, so that's awesome. And then as you can see there, the camera will focus, it says GE very faintly. You can see the sticker in person way better than in camera. Also, sorry for the shakiness of the camera. I'm trying to do all this handheld versus using the tripod at the moment, just to kind of get some more, show this off a little bit better, because I don't have any room on my workbench. It's completely covered in junk at the moment. But yeah, so when he dropped this off, this was actually kind of like broken and detached and kind of flopping around, but luckily it was just the screw came loose in it, surprisingly. And I think I know why it came loose. It's because of how much this thing hums and vibrates. I think over the years it just kind of worked the screws out, and also getting hit by a tree doesn't help either. But yeah, I was so ecstatic when I got this, because of the fact that I didn't know that it was as old as it was. Like, I would see it and I thought it was just a basic, NEMA head, like an ITT or something, like a American Electric, something, you know, simple as just a, you know, basic 175 watt NEMA head. I didn't realize that this was a 1964 GE fixture, which is crazy because that means that this has been up there since it was new, since this area that I live in has been developed, which is wild to me. So to me, this is quite a bit of a cool piece of history for around where I live. So I think it's awesome. It's the same ordeal with the other one. I don't know how old the other one is, so when I make a video of that, hopefully somebody can help me decode that one. But I definitely think that other one is older than this one, but it's still cool. This is from 64. I have a couple of other GE mercury vapor fixtures that are, from about that era too, but those are power brackets, which I'll do videos on those eventually. I'm currently trying to fix the one, and then the other two need to be cleaned, but they're 240 volts, so that's a whole nother story. But anyway, I'm gonna get this hooked up and we can test it, and we'll show it working, and I'll put you in the stand for that. So I'm gonna put the bypass photocell socket on it, and I'm going to put a newer bright bulb in it, and then get it hooked up, and we'll come back and we'll take a look at it. Alrighty, so now we have the bypass cap on the top installed right there for the photocell, and I also have a newer Sylvania 175 watt bulb in here, so we're all hooked up, ready to go. Now, like I said, this fixture is loud. It buzzes really loud. I think this is probably the loudest one that I have now. And I have a couple other ones that are pretty loud. But this one, I think, this one takes the cake for how loud it is. It's wild how loud it is. And I remember, too, hearing this come on in the summer when I'm driving passing it. Or if I was walking or riding my bike, I could hear it. And I knew it had some noise, but it didn't sound as loud as it does when it's up close in person. This thing is loud. So I might take it apart eventually, or I'm going to have to take it apart to replace these wires, but I'm going to see why it's so loud and maybe try to quiet it down a little bit. But anyway, here we go. I'm going to cut this on in 3, 2, 1. And it doesn't want to cut on for some reason. Why do you not want to work? I had the wrong thing plugged in. Excuse me. A little technical difficulty here. There we go. Now, I don't know if that's coming through on the camera well, but as you can tell, this thing is loud. Like, I'm having to talk a little bit louder just because how loud this fixture is. It's nuts. So let me get the lights off and we'll watch it warm up. Now it does these weird things where it's super loud on startup, but then after it starts to warm up a little bit, it does get a little quieter, but not much louder. But like that wah, 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 wah sound it's doing, it does kind of go away a little bit. So I'll bring you back once it's at full brightness. Alrighty, and now we're at full brightness, and this fixture, because it's so old and has such a big beefy ballast in it, and because of the time they actually made these ballasts to where they ran the bulbs properly with full power, it gets bright pretty quickly. And when I say it's bright, it's quite bright compared to some of the other ones I have, just because of the ballast in them are either weak or they don't put out as much power as this one does. But it's a little quieter now. I don't know if you can tell, but it's definitely, not as loud as it was on startup. But yeah, this thing works phenomenally. It gets bright. It powers up the bulb really nicely. Let me take you out of the tripod and I'll show you. As you can tell, it's lighting up everything pretty good all around in the area. Pretty nice and bright. It's way brighter in person than on camera. But yeah, this thing works flawlessly. Like I said, I just got to do some repair work to it, changing out some wires and stuff like that, and cleaning it up a little bit, but it's actually in pretty good clean condition for how long it's been outside. Same with the other one that I got. I'm quite surprised. I've gotten some that are filthy, but these are pretty surprisingly clean. But it needs a little bit of work, but not too bad. So hopefully it won't be too big of a pain to replace some of these wires. But yeah, this light works, like I said, fantastic. I'm really happy that I have this. Let me actually go ahead and turn it off and turn the main lights back on. But yeah, overall, it works no issues at all, and it's fully original. I'm really happy that I got it, and I'm happy to have this in my collection. So, I mean, it's a piece of history. I mean, it's from 1964, and I highly doubt that a lot of these, NEMA heads from that era are around. I mean, I didn't even know that they had NEMA heads that were designed like, basic like this that were from 64. So it's kind of unique to have something like this that's this style, but from 1964. So yeah, overall, super awesome. Happy to have it. And I really appreciate the local electric guy for taking this down and giving it to me. Because of the fact that it's pretty much been around since I was a kid, and now it's changed, and now I have it to keep it on living, and versus, it being thrown in the garbage and recycled like most of these lights do now. So yeah, really happy to have it. I think there was one more thing I was going to say about the light, but I cannot remember what it was. But yeah, it doesn't need a whole lot of work. Like I said, I just got to change out some wires in it and then replace the lens on the metal reflector on it, and then it'll be all good to go and perfect to eventually hang onto the wall once I start hanging some of these eventually later on. It's going to be a while, but it would be a nice piece to hang on the wall. Plus, it's also got a really cool story behind it now. So, and yeah, really, really happy to have it. I know I've said it, I don't know how many times, but I'm really happy to have this. But yeah, thank you for watching. Stay tuned for all the other videos that it's coming, because I've gotten quite a bit of stuff recently, and I'm going to make videos about it. And yeah, just keep a lookout, and I appreciate it a lot. Thank you, and see you next time.